In this first video of comparing old versus new, I have here two Brita water filter bottles. The old one is on the left. This is the model BB04. It holds 23.7 ounces of water. The new model or current one is on the right. This is the BB10. It holds 26 ounces of water, so slightly more. I bought both of these new, but the old one on the left is discontinued. I couldn't find it anywhere except for eBay, and even then there was only one. The real purpose of this test was to do some investigation myself. I saw that a lot of people complained that the new model, the silicone mouthpiece cannot be replaced and it starts molding after a set amount of time. Could be a few days, could be a few months. That's not to say that the old version is flawless. So at the same time, I wanted to do a long-term test to see if I have any issues with the one on the left as well. Aside from the different sizes, they are both similar in weight. They both feel pretty light and cheap in terms of plastic material. It does feel kind of fragile. If we're looking at the cap on both of these, starting with the old version, the flip top or the flip spout, it has some resistance. It does lock in place, but it does take some effort. It does have a removable silicone mouthpiece, but it is quite hard to get off. I had to use a knife, and some people out there might have a hard time doing this. It seems like it could be washed and put back on. The new version has a flip cap. The mouthpiece is silicone. This silicone cannot be removed from what I see, so once it starts to mold, that's when people have issues with it. Both of them have carrying handles. Here's the old one. On the newer bottle, this handle is nicer. It folds out of the way, whereas the one on the old one is stationary. As to what's in the bottles, in the old version, you just have a coupon for water, which is expired now, and the filter is pre-installed. On the new one, it also has the same instruction manuals, but the filter is packaged separately. The filter disassembly in both bottles are the same. You just twist it counterclockwise, and the filter comes right out. The setup for both bottles are exactly the same. You just have to rinse the bottles out with soapy water. In terms of the filter, you don't wash it with soap, but you do run it under water for 15 seconds. After that, you just reinsert it to the straw, reattach the straw, and you're good to go. Here's just a quick leak test. If you happen to have the bottles turned upside down with the cap and spout open, the new one has a hole, so if you happen to tip the bottle over, it's going to leak out. The old model does not have this hole, and this appears to be a vent hole. As I mentioned earlier, this will be a long-term test, but some initial final thoughts. Here's the good, and this applies to both water bottles. I like how the water is instant compared to a normal countertop Brita pitcher where you have to wait for it to drip and so forth. This one, you just fill the bottle up with water and just drink right out of it. The replacement filters are cheap. I believe each one lasts around 2 months. You could buy a year supply for around $10 right now. You could use these anywhere, and it's really handy for when you're in a situation where there is limited access to bottled water. They both have a good compact size, and they're pretty cheap. For negatives, the suction on the older model is not that great. It doesn't have that same vent hole, so when you're drinking out of it, you really have to put some effort to get the water out. The newer model has that vent, so in terms of drinking out of it, it's a lot easier. But the trade-off, as I mentioned earlier, is that due to that vent hole, if you happen to tip the bottle over, it's going to leak. From what I saw, there's no replacement for the silicone mouthpieces. If I'm wrong, correct me down below. And here's something that a lot of people do not know. This is not a con, but if you're used to normal water bottles, these type of bottles, you're supposed to drink straight out of the straw like a normal drink. If you try to tilt the bottle up and drink like you would a normal water bottle, it just won't come out. That's just how the filter works. It took some getting used to, but something to note. And that's all I got for today. I'm curious to see how the silicone mouthpieces hold up over time. That is kind of the main focus of my testing. Can't wait to see the results, but in the meantime, I do recommend both of them. But you're more likely only be able to find the newer model on sale. If you found something useful in this video today, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.